Hi, it's John and welcome to the channel. Great to have you along today. It is Wednesday, March the 5th, 5:44 a.m. with the big blue mug of coffee. And today I want to talk to those of you who are jumping off the conservative bandwagon today. Maybe you haven't been in the political game as long as I have. I just turned 60, but you need to understand that politicians can't say and do everything you want them to do, even if they're in your own party. We're going to talk about Poilievre today. And I think that some of you might be starting to jump back on the bandwagon because there's good news. Check out the poll numbers, folks. National Post. This came out yesterday. Yesterday I was concerned about the polls, but I'm a little optimistic here. Conservatives rebound with voters, regain double-digit lead as Liberals slide in poll. Let's just go down and read just a little bit of this. I don't want to get too far into it. The poll shows Conservatives rebounding to 43% support, up 5 percentage points from a Leger poll last week. Liberals have slipped to 30, losing 5 percentage points in support. NDP slipped 1 point over the week to 13%. The latest survey was conducted between February 8th and March the 2nd. Feeling better? Are you jumping back on the bandwagon again? Because we knew this was going to happen, that the leadership campaign would give them a boost in the polls. And yeah, it got precariously close and things are looking better. But hold out hope, folks. Poilievre can't do everything you want him to do. And he's going to be our next prime minister, and you need to vote for him. I want to go through some of the reasons why people are all of a sudden jumping off the Poilievre bandwagon and criticizing the man. He's walking a tightrope right now, folks. And you're all talking about voting for the PPC. Are you nuts? Do you want to hand the Liberals 5 more years? Let's look at this comes right off X. I found this morning. This is an open letter from a guy who lives in British Columbia, calls himself a libertarian conservative. He looks to be in his 60s, maybe around my age, maybe a little bit older. And he lists a whole bunch of things that's got him jumping off the bandwagon, and I think he's ridiculous and ignorant for doing this. I'm going to try to go through these quickly for you. Open letter to Pierre Poilievre, Conservative Party of Canada. Dear Mr. Poilievre, at this moment, I imagine you'd like a chance at a do-over, but unfortunately that option isn't on the table. That growing exodus you hear is the sound of once loyal Conservative supporters leaving your party in record numbers. The question you need to answer is why. Here are a few reasons that might explain it. Yeah, you're jumping off. You're not a conservative. You're jumping off the conservative bandwagon right now. Who are you going to vote for? A party leader who might not win his own seat? A party that has no chance of winning? Again, you want to give 5 more years to the Liberals? Let's go through a few of these reasons. Now, I'm going to look at the first 3 here right as the same because they are. Vladimir Zelensky's meltdown at the White House exposed his crumbling influence. Memes of you proclaiming Slava Ukraine are everywhere, tying you to a losing cause. Images of you and Justin Trudeau on matching Ukraine colors are flooding social media. I'm going to sound a little bit like I'm repeating myself for about the first 7 or 8 things here. But do you really think Pierre Poilievre coming out and saying we shouldn't support Ukraine at this point would do anything for his campaign? He would immediately be called a Putin appeaser. And the Liberals would have all kinds of ammunition to throw at him. That's why he's not doing that. And you might not like it. I don't want to give more money to Ukraine. It was a losing cause years ago. But right now, the Russians have feet in Ukraine, and it's time for peace. And I think you probably agree with me on that. But it would serve no purpose for Poilievre to come out against Ukraine right now. No purpose whatsoever. Even conservatives put their little Ukrainian flag on their X posts. They do. Moving along. The next 4, again, I'm going to put these all together. Your refusal to withdraw from the Paris Accord, your refusal to cut ties with anyone linked to the WTF, your silence on removing Canada from the WHO, and your unwillingness to discuss exiting NATO. Well, first off, you're giving, again, it's much like the first 4. You're just giving ammunition to the other side. The Bloc, the NDP, and the Liberals would call Pierre Poilievre a climate denier if he pulled out of the Paris Accord right now. If he came out against WEF, which he has, by the way, here it is. Back May 4th, 2022, True North, Poilievre says he and his cabinet would boycott World Economic Forum. So you got your World Economic Forum right there, okay? Your silence on removing Canada from the World Health Organization. Well, again, they call him an anti-vaxxer, anti-science. There's no need for him to do this right now. He's got an election to win. Keep your eyes on the prize, pal. Win the election. You need to read the quote you're seeing on the screen right now. This guy lived before Christ. Sun Tzu from The Art of War. He will win who knows when to fight and when not to fight. Military leaders follow this to this day. And that's what Pierre Poilievre is doing right now, and you need to understand that. You know, coming out against all of these things right now would be like showing your cards in the middle of a poker game. That's what it's like. And then your unwillingness to discuss exiting NATO. Well, think about what you're saying here. The guy to the south right now, you know, Donald Trump, who's put tariffs on Canada, says we're not living up to our obligations when it comes to NATO. So let's just pull out of NATO. Now, he's talking about it as well, but he's the United States of America. He funds most of it. That's why he wants to get out, because people like us are not fulfilling our obligations here in Canada. So that's ridiculous. Your relentless pandering to every special interest group with a voting bloc of 100 plus people. Well, I agree with you. This is ridiculous. Put on a costume, walk into a mosque. It's stupid. This is the modern day version of kissing babies. And it's stupid. But are you going to vote based on that? Seriously? You're over 60 years of age. Don't be ridiculous. Your wife's refusal to apologize for telling Canadians to wear a effing mask. Well, I couldn't find anything online regarding this. Maybe that's the case, but come on. That's long past right now. You're fighting against something that happened years ago. I don't even know whether she said that. I didn't want to wear a mask. I did at the beginning and I quit wearing it during the pandemic because it was ridiculous. This is the equivalence of leftists saying they're going to boo the national anthem. It's pathetic. But we've got a country to save here, pal. Do you understand? Your refusal to clarify whether your father-in-law is the same individual by that name serving 38 months in a U.S. prison for cartel-related activity. A simple answer would clear this up. So why the silence? I read a little bit about this. Could be the case. Let me ask you, do you want to air your dirty laundry on X? Because I don't think Pierre Poilievre really wants to talk about family matters in the middle of a campaign to be the Prime Minister of the country. Can you blame him for that? How do you think his wife would feel about him going out in front of and talking about this? Seriously? Your lifelong career in politics with no real-world job experience, Canadians deserve to know how you differ from Justin Trudeau in any meaningful way, because right now the distinction isn't clear. Well, it's not clear on the first 7 things you put on your list. But seriously, you can call yourself a conservative libertarian who's in your 60s? You sound like a freaking liberal here who says, Poilievre hasn't got a plan. He does. He's been talking about it for 2 years. I stood in Spruce Meadows here in Calgary when he was running to become the leader of the Conservative Party, and he was talking about the same things then. The political landscape is shifting fast. Well, yeah, and your weaknesses are becoming glaringly obvious. Alberta is openly discussing joining the United States. Well, that is a freaking lie. We are not discussing becoming part of the United States. I think Danielle Smith came out yesterday and said she's not doing that. I'm discussing that. I don't want to become part of the United States. I want us to separate and become our own country. But that's a lie. I think we should take parts of British Columbia and Saskatchewan with us. You're welcome, Mr. Libertarian Conservative. At this rate, one might wonder if you're secretly working for the People's Party of Canada. Maxime Bernier remains the only leader consistently standing for Canadian values. Well, vote for Maxime Bernier. He's not going to win his own seat. His party will get nowhere. And you're going to put the Liberals back in power for 5 freaking years. I voted for Maxime Bernier the last 2 elections. And I live in Calgary Shepherd. Tom Kimmick, who is the MP here, won by 60 points here. I knew my vote meant nothing, but if you vote in great numbers for Maxime Bernier and the PC, you're going to be stuck with the Liberals, and it will be worse under Mark Carney. And as a final note, your belief that you can take on Donald Trump in a tariff war is laughable. Trump just secured a $100 billion semiconductor deal to bring chip manufacturing onto U.S. soil. If you think you can go toe-to-toe with him in an economic showdown, you've already lost. I don't believe he thinks we can go toe-to-toe with him. But do you think he wants to come out against Team Canada at this point? People are lauding Trudeau as a hero yesterday because he imposed tariffs on the United States. We're not going to win this war. Not putting tariffs on the United States would have been the right thing to do because we're going to suffer more because of this. I don't think we can win this. We could see the unraveling of the whole country. I did a video on it yesterday. But he cannot come out against Canada right now. He would lose. They would throw him out of the party right now. They would. The Conservatives would be mud if he did that. You got to think. You have very little time left to course correct. What he needs to do is he needs to blame all of this mess on the Conservatives and be very clear about that. A really good video right now. Just slamming Trudeau and Carney and the Liberals. We are here because of the Liberals. I keep saying it. Poilievre has to keep saying it. Wake up, pal. People like you and other people like you who are going on and on about Poilievre sounding like Trudeau. are going to put us into a dire situation. We need Poilievre to be the next prime minister and the Conservatives to have a majority. That's the way out of the tariff issue. That's the way to get along with the United States. That's the way to prosperity. If you're not sure what Poilievre's been talking about for 2 years, do your homework. But writing a stupid post on X is getting us nowhere. Thank you very much for watching. What do you think? Let me know in the comments. Subscribe to the channel. Ring the bell for notifications. Please give me a thumbs up. Share it if you like it. See you in the next one.